Hey all. So the gifting event is live, has been for a little bit. I have been traveling for the holidays, and so this video is a bit late, but I'm actually kind of glad for that because I've had a lot of really good conversations with people about the implications of this event. What it means for the game going forward. Is it really good? Is it really bad? And so, hopefully, without beating a dead horse too much, I do want to go over that. But first, I want to talk about my advice for gifting, which in short is do it. If you have units, then spend them. And that's simply because pretty much whatever you might be using units for, getting the extra rewards from gifting is probably worth it. Like you see me going through here, I only had 2,000 units saved up. I used all of them, and then the units that I got from gifting, as you saw, there are 590 units available between solo and alliance milestones, and I've almost maxed out the milestones. And that T5CC at the end, I don't really care about. Plus, I've qualified for rank rewards from my alliance, which odds are we're probably going to land at least the 6 to 10 range, so I should be getting some more 6-star shards and other rank up materials. That's a really big deal. All of that is completely separate from the variance of the actual gifting crystals themselves, which can be quite good. I don't think you should rely on them being much more than gold and ISO, honestly, but there's going to be some stuff in there that does help you out. The important part for me is that whatever you personally need, you can get extras from the milestones along with it. I know a bunch of people who are sending out greater gifting crystals, but getting in return either energy refills or revives so that they can go do content. For the refills, they tend to then turn around and use those to farm revives. But all of that works, and you still get all the points for it, and then things, you've got a bunch of free stuff that works out in your favor. So, if you have units, I highly recommend that you gift whatever you can and just make sure that you're getting something good in return. Like I said, if you had those units earmarked for content, then get revives, get energy refills. That's going to work out better for you. And if you have units that aren't earmarked for content, or you're not going to be doing content for long enough that you could probably build back up your unit stash, then go ahead and get the greater gifting crystals because hopefully there's going to be something good in them. So I'm letting these play out in the background, and hey, that's my first Kang ever, so that's kind of nice. But while that's playing out, I want to zoom back out to the big picture stuff. And interestingly enough, I think that there are both people being too dramatic in this argument and not dramatic enough. And we'll kind of go over both of those. On the people are being too dramatic side, there's the fact that I really don't think this is going to shake up all that much of either war or AQ for the vast majority of us. For my alliance in particular, we have been sitting top 30 recently. Even before this, we dropped just outside of that to top 45. As we get more rank 4s, we're hoping to cross back into top 30, but we're not worried too much about it. And importantly, gifting isn't that likely to affect the alliances around us more than it does us, because we also spend. And especially the gifting at the very top, the rank rewards for top 30, top 60, top 90 individual summoners, or top 10 alliances are probably not going to go to people who we are in direct competition with. Because those people are just probably in higher ranking alliances, and we weren't really trying to pass them anyway. Similarly, in war, yes, odds are gifting is going to mean we run into some larger defenders and some larger attackers. It's probably going to mean we have a few extra ourselves. But as far as running into dramatically more rank 4 attackers and defenders, that's probably not going to be a big thing. Because, yeah, that's going to happen at a few alliances. But my suspicion is that those extra rank 4s are going to be concentrated in alliances that would have been significant swings for us to beat anyway, to just put it mildly. And so then it doesn't actually change that much. Now, if you are in one of those top alliances and you were hanging on and like never dying, and now you're facing a group that maybe was not quite as skilled as you, but was holding on because their rosters were better, and now their rosters are that much better and yours aren't, then that probably is going to swing things. And that's going to feel bad, and I have real sympathy for that. However, it's kind of always been the case in this game that whales do have an advantage, and a few people I've talked to, especially, actually, no, I'm not going to name them just in case there's backlash on this, but a few people I've talked to have pointed out that over the last year, it's actually been easier than historically for very skilled non-spenders to compete, and this is more of a reversion to the norm than it is an aberration. So I think overall, in the immediate sense, gifting is not going to upset that much. What it is going to do is destabilize the prestige race at the very top, and therefore cause a lot of spending, and it's going to open up more opportunities in the future for a lot of spending. That is not a bad thing, because Kabam milking the whales, so to speak, is what keeps this game running for the rest of us. The possible problem, and now we're going to shift into where people are maybe not being dramatic enough. The possible problem is that this is a bigger gap than previously. Some people are drawing comparisons to last year in 2019, or sorry, in 2020. I don't think that really matters at all, because last year people had multiple rank 3s. Through gifting, they had more rank 3s. It was barely a blip on the competitive landscape, barely affected prestige more than, people buying Cavalier crystals anyway. I think the real comparison is to 2019, when gifting allowed people to get rank 3s before content did. And that is something that has always bothered people, myself included. However, in 2019, gifting allowed people to kind of trip over the finish line a little bit sooner and get one rank 3 right before content let everybody else get one rank 3. And then those people were that much closer to their second one. It was a significant advantage, but not a game-breaking one. This year, we have people with one rank 4 because of some combination of content and spending. And after gifting, it looks like we're going to have people with 3 rank 4s, and quite a lot with 2. And still, if you have not spent anything, if you've only been doing content, you cannot have one. And you're probably not going to have one next month or the month after that. We may get one if you've done all the content when 7.4 drops. I really hope we do. But then those whales are still going to be ahead by 2 or 3, and not by half of one. That is a meaningful difference. It will eventually shrink, because when everybody gets to having 5 rank 4s, or at least everybody at the top, that's when we'll start closing the gap again, but it's going to be a while. So for now, this really is different. And that's where the potential problem could come in, because we've already talked a little bit about how spending is driven from whales fighting with whales. That's like this gifting event destabilizes the top 5 in a queue. That drives a lot of spending, and then people trying to, reassert their previous place or take advantage of the chaos and move up in that top 5 race. That's going to drive future spending. And again, spending on this game is actually a good thing. Brief pause for a moment of silence for my alt account for the first 5-star dupe to be Purgatory. Hopefully she gets buffed. But back to the gifting thing. The possible problem here is that if that gap is too big for too long, and the dolphins, more like myself, who spend from time to time, but not that much, feel like there's not much of an incentive to spend because the gap between them and the whales is just too far, or is just too big. The whales are too far ahead. Then maybe you could see dolphins spending less. And then as that gap grows, as the dolphins aren't even trying to catch up, suddenly the whales may notice in between fighting with each other, hey, the dolphins aren't really nipping at our heels anymore, are they? Maybe we don't have to spend as much either. And if that happens, then the game is getting less money, and then I worry for its future. So that is my primary concern with this gifting event because it does feel quantitatively more impactful than 2019. However, it is also possible that the whales will just keep fighting with each other, and dolphins who over this past year have been used to competing directly with the whales because the gap has been smaller will be upset, possibly rightfully so, and will have to drop back a bit, and that's going to suck. And maybe some of those people will be upset enough that they will either stop spending or quit the game, and that is a real loss. But then the remaining dolphins, so to speak, will decide that competing with each other and being at the front of that second tier of spenders, of competitors, is still worth something, and they continue to spend, and the whales continue to spend because they're focused on each other, and then the game is stable going forward. If that becomes the new equilibrium, then this is fine, honestly, because it's just not that big a deal to be at the very top of a game like this. It is designed so that people who spend a lot are rewarded with a return on their investment, and they're further ahead than us. And I know that can be really hard to accept because it does not feel like a meritocracy, but it's not. It is both a meritocracy and a business. And like I said, if the game stabilizes so that I feel like I am getting a return on the work that I put into it, then that's enough for me. That return does not have to be me being at the top. And I know that's easy for me to say because I am not currently in the race for the top. I have not been for a couple years now. But I think that's kind of true for everyone. At the end of the day, we play this game because we enjoy it. If you don't enjoy this game, then don't play it. But at the end of the day, we play this game because we enjoy it, and so I think most of us want to just feel like we are progressing, we are being successful, and that the game will be here and thus continue to provide a return on the investment of our previous time and or money. And so hopefully when the smoke clears from this, the game looks a little bit different but is still as healthy as it was. And if you're worried about the state of the game, then try and keep that in mind. If that equilibrium doesn't happen, then I will be very sad, but I'm going to choose not to focus on that because there's nothing further I can do right now. In the meantime, try to enjoy gifting. Like I said, if you have units, I would advise you to use them. I would advise you to get those goodies. And good luck to everyone on your pulls. You saw mine were okay. Got a very small number of 6 stones, few shards, a couple 4-star trophy champions, and then some solid stuff for my alt account, which ultimately resulted in a significantly out of meta 5-star pull, but that is the point of that alt account. So, could have been worse. Good luck to everyone, and enjoy the holiday season. Until next time, thanks for watching, and take care.